And you know what? There are questions about the impact President Trump's travel ban could have on athletes and fans trying to get into this country.
We didn't ask for this fight. We didn't ask for this fight. But Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. So the Americans, they should make no mistake, in trade as in hockey, Canada will win.
FIFA is reportedly moving the 2026 World Cup from USA to Canada due to growing concerns over U.S. immigration policies. So this is what it says. It says, the latest visa restrictions have drawn criticism from fans and human rights groups, with reports suggesting that entire delegations...
The countdown clock is ticking, and the unthinkable is now on the table. The 2026 FIFA World Cup could see some of its most anticipated matches pulled out of the United States and handed to its neighbors. Less than 2 years out, what began as quiet concern inside FIFA has shifted into active contingency planning, driven by a mix of trade barriers and visa restrictions that threaten the tournament's accessibility. Under FIFA's own rules, entire matches can be reassigned with just 90 days' notice if host conditions fail to meet requirements. YouTube is not the biggest fan of content like this, but we believe people deserve to hear the truth. If you agree, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us beat the algorithm and keep going. Signs of a shift are already out in the open. Emirates Airlines has pulled a $15 million advertising commitment from US venues and sent it to Canada instead, a move that speaks volumes about where corporate confidence is headed. Canada, with its stable political climate and streamlined event infrastructure, has emerged as the frontrunner for any relocated group stage fixtures. Behind closed doors, fully developed backup plans are reportedly complete, mapping out stadium allocations and travel logistics should FIFA decide the US cannot deliver. If that happens, it will be more than a logistical change. It will be a reputational earthquake.
The World Cup is supposed to be in the US next year. Next year! Like, have we seen what they're doing with ICE? We're just gonna have all these players come over here and their families, and they're just gonna cross their fingers and everything's gonna be fine. They don't get sent to an El Salvadorian gulag. What are we doing? They can't have the World Cup here? Like, is FIFA even thinking about this? What's the plan, guys?
The world's biggest sporting event is more than a game. It is a stage for soft power, economic opportunity, and national image. The question is whether America's own policies will hand that stage to someone else. The warning signs extend beyond corporate sponsorships. They are showing up in the stands, or rather in the empty seats that could define this World Cup. A sweeping travel ban now blocks visitors from 12 countries, including Iran, a team that has already qualified. Tens of thousands of potential ticket holders are gone in an instant. For those still eligible to travel, the hurdles are steep. A $250 visa integrity fee now applies to most visitors without exemptions, adding a heavy surcharge to already expensive travel. Even with the fee paid, in some consulates, interview appointments stretch more than 16 months into the future. Too late for many to attend. The fallout goes beyond ticket sales. Local organizers, facing the likelihood of smaller crowds, are scaling back community events, cutting volunteer perks, and shrinking the cultural festivities that surround the tournament. What was meant to be a nationwide celebration risks becoming a patchwork of half-filled stadiums and muted fan zones. Tariff-driven price hikes are compounding the problem. Every scoreboard installation, every upgraded lighting rig, every reinforced seating section depends on a supply chain now tangled in customs paperwork and inflated invoices. Materials that once crossed the border seamlessly are sitting in inspection queues, adding delays on top of rising costs. Organizers are being forced into hard choices: scale back features, push construction into costly overtime, or postpone upgrades altogether. Even small compromises risk damaging the host nation's credibility. It is not just the structures. Hospitality areas, media zones, and fan experience spaces, designed to showcase the US as a polished host, are being redesigned with cheaper, less durable materials to fit reduced budgets. That may save money now, but it erodes the long-term legacy these venues are supposed to leave. In the eyes of international observers, the image is no longer of a confident host nation, but of a country struggling to hold its own event together under the weight of its policies. Behind every rising cost is a deeper problem. The physical flow of goods is seizing up. Containers loaded with stadium essentials are piling up at border checkpoints, stuck in a limbo of tariff assessments, paperwork, and inspections. Structural steel beams from Canada, critical for reinforcing upper decks and temporary stands, are among the most delayed, with arrival dates slipping week after week. Without them, construction crews cannot move forward, forcing a cascade of rescheduled tasks. Shipments of imported seating, high-definition scoreboards, and advanced LED advertising panels are arriving months late, throwing off installation timelines. Contractors are rewriting agreements to include larger contingency budgets, padding in extra weeks or months to absorb the uncertainty. Each adjustment carries a cost, in dollars and in eroding confidence among sponsors, local officials, and FIFA. If the supply chain bottleneck is the visible threat, the visa barrier is its invisible twin, quietly shrinking the World Cup's global audience before anyone steps inside a stadium. Millions of would-be fans are effectively locked out before they even search for a flight. Average visa interview wait times in many countries now exceed 300 days. In some places, travelers must request an appointment more than a year in advance just to have a chance at attending. Outright travel bans slam the door on entire fan bases, instantly removing their voices from the crowd. Fewer fans mean less revenue for host cities and a flatter atmosphere for the matches themselves. In a sport defined by global reach and emotional connection, these invisible walls may prove just as damaging as any physical barrier. Sponsors are making their own calculations. Emirates and Visa have already shifted substantial parts of their promotional budgets away from US venues to Canada and Mexico, where fan access and logistics are more predictable. These are not token moves. Sportswear giants and other consumer brands are quietly scaling back American campaigns, trimming planned activations in multiple US cities to just one or two, with the rest moved across the border. For local stadiums and host cities, losing hundreds of millions in direct sponsorship means fewer resources for fan zones, cultural programs, and enhancements. FIFA is not simply waiting for Washington to fix itself. Senior officials have repeated a message privately for months. Universal access is not a courtesy. It is the backbone of the World Cup. Sources close to the organizing committee say, what started as a precaution has matured into a fully realized contingency plan. FIFA operations teams have simulated moving whole blocks of matches to Canadian or Mexican venues with minimal disruption to global broadcasts. Hotel allocations, volunteer deployments, ticket reissues, all plotted in advance. Insiders indicate a final call could be made up to a year before the first whistle. For Canada, the uncertainty south of the border is an opportunity. Free from the tangle of tariffs and visa restrictions, it can present itself as the stable, welcoming host FIFA wants. Vancouver's BC Place offers 54,000 seats and a proven track record. Toronto's upgrades will expand capacity to 45,000 and meet FIFA's highest standards. Many nations can secure Canadian visas in weeks. Some need none at all. Integrated transit, hotel capacity, and past experience all make Canada a contender for the main stage. Mexico brings its own advantage, a proven history of delivering the World Cup, iconic stadiums like the Estadio Azteca, and a streamlined entry process that removes barriers for nearby Latin American fans. Its football infrastructure is tested and ready. If matches move, the economic hit to US host cities will be severe. Billions in projected tourism revenue could disappear. Hotels renovated for record demand could sit half empty. Restaurants, bars, and local attractions could lose entire quarters' worth of business. Tens of thousands of seasonal jobs could vanish, taking with them the financial cushion many workers were counting on. Hosting the World Cup is about prestige as much as profit. Losing matches due to preventable policy or logistical failure would be a black mark that future event organizers will not forget. In the competition for global events, perception often decides who gets the next bid. What was meant to be the world's greatest celebration of sport is turning into a test of US policy under the eyes of billions. Instead of open gates and a festive welcome, the tournament risks being defined by tariffs, visa walls, and empty seats. If the US does not recalibrate quickly, this World Cup could be remembered less for goals scored and more for opportunities lost. And that loss will echo far beyond